The Philippine military has played a vital role in the country's history, from fighting for independence to maintaining peace and order. Its significance extends beyond the battlefield, influencing current events and shaping the nation's future. As we explore its secrets, you'll discover a side of the military that's not often talked about. Many people view the Philippine military as underfunded and under-equipped, and it's true that budget constraints are a major challenge. The military has to do more with less, which can impact its effectiveness. Public perception is also an issue, with some seeing the military as out of touch with the needs of the community. But is this really the whole story? The Philippine military faces a lot of criticism, and some of it is justified. However, it's also important to consider the context in which it operates. The country's diverse geography and complex security landscape make it a tough job. The military has to deal with everything from insurgencies to natural disasters. Despite these challenges, the military has made significant contributions to the country's development. It's involved in humanitarian efforts, such as disaster relief and medical missions. These activities not only save lives, but also help build trust between the military and the community. The military's history is also worth exploring, from the revolution against Spanish rule to the modern-day fight against terrorism. It's been a wild ride. There are stories of bravery, sacrifice, and innovation that have shaped the military into what it is today. The Philippine military has a rich history of operations, training, and historical moments that have shaped its identity. One lesser-known fact is that the military has a special unit dedicated to cyber warfare. This unit helps protect the country's critical infrastructure from cyber threats. Another fascinating anecdote is the military's involvement in the 1986 People Power Revolution. The military's withdrawal of support from the Marcos regime was a pivotal moment in Philippine history. It's a story that's not often told but has had a lasting impact on the country. The military's training is also worth mentioning. Recruits undergo rigorous training to prepare them for the challenges they might face. This training includes everything from combat skills to first aid. One of the most shocking secrets about the Philippine military is its involvement in international peacekeeping missions. The military has sent troops to countries like Lebanon and Somalia to help maintain peace and stability. This is a side of the military that not many people know about. What if I told you that one of the most underestimated countries in the world holds a military secret that could shock even the strongest countries? What if I told you that this country is not the United States? It's not Russia, not China, but the Philippines. Yes, the Philippines, a country known for its warm people, pristine beaches, and tropical escapes, a place the world sees as a peaceful paradise. But beneath the coconut trees and sunset shores lies a different truth, one that involves hidden bases, elite forces, cyber warfare, and quiet alliances that may one day change the balance of power in Asia. This isn't just about soldiers, it's about positioning, about silence, about the kind of strength you only realize when it's too late. Let's start with location. The Philippines sits in a place that every superpower wants, smack in the middle of Southeast Asia, the South China Sea, between Taiwan, China, and the Pacific. Whoever controls this zone controls the ocean highways of trade, energy, and military movement. And guess who sits right at the gate? The Philippines. That's why the US never truly left. That's why China keeps trying to gain influence. And that's why military deals keep getting signed quietly. You see, while the world's distracted by what's loud, the Philippines has been building silently. Under agreements like EDCA, the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, the U.S. has access to key Philippine military bases. Officially, they're not permanent. But when you look at the billion-peso construction projects, high-tech runways, and underground bunkers being built, you start to wonder how temporary is temporary. Strategic bases in Luzon, Palawan, and Mindanao are being outfitted with radars, aircraft shelters, and weapons systems. You probably never heard about it, and that's the point. Strategic bases in Luzon, Palawan, and Mindanao are being outfitted with radars, aircraft shelters, and weapons systems. You probably never heard about it, and that's the point. Every year, the U.S. and the Philippines hold joint military exercises called Balakatan, shoulder to shoulder. But these aren't just training drills anymore. Japan is joining in, Australia, even France, and the scenarios, they're not abstract. They're preparing for real-world flashpoints. Taiwan, the South China Sea, a future conflict with China. And here's the twist: while most think the Philippine military is outdated, under-equipped, and behind, they're wrong. Since 2012, a quiet military modernization has been underway. Billions poured into submarines, naval warships, air defense systems, surveillance drones, missile capabilities. The Philippine Navy now commands ships built in South Korea. The Air Force is training pilots for next-gen fighters. And the Army, they've tested the BrahMos, a supersonic missile capable of hitting targets more than 400 kilometers away. That's not a weak military. That's a sleeping one evolving fast. And they're not doing it alone. India is helping with missile tech. Japan is supplying radar systems. Australia is bringing in surveillance tools. These aren't favors, these are strategic alignments. While China builds artificial islands, the Philippines is building relationships, and that may be even more powerful. But war today isn't only about land, sea, and air. It's about cyberspace. And the Philippines understands this well. There's a joint cyber defense unit with the U.S. actively monitoring threats. Filipino cybersecurity experts are among the best in the world. They're tracking hackers, protecting data, and guarding secrets not just for themselves, but for allies. And let's talk about something even more invisible: people. Millions of overseas Filipino workers often scattered across the globe in embassies, ports, ships, hospitals, and companies, not soldiers, but observers, informants, connectors. In a crisis, this silent global network could offer real-time information no satellite can match. And what about the men and women in uniform? The Philippines doesn't just have soldiers, it has warriors hardened by decades of insurgencies, terrorism, and natural disasters. Units like the Scout Rangers, the Light Reaction Regiment trained in jungle warfare, urban combat, and counterterrorism, trained by U.S. Navy SEALs and Israeli Special Forces. They've seen real action, and their true capabilities classified. Let's not forget the island bases. Everyone looks at China's artificial islands, but the Philippines is building and reinforcing its own in Palawan, the Kalayaan Group, and more. Airstrips, radar towers, surveillance posts quietly established with allied help, drones launched from these spots, submarines lurk in nearby waters, all under the radar. And when disaster hits, typhoons, earthquakes, floods, guess who responds first? The military. This gives them something most armed forces don't have: constant real-world experience in rapid response, logistics, and coordination, skills that become essential when the battlefield changes from storm to war. But the Philippines' greatest strength? Its people. Resilient, brave, patriotic, a nation that's been colonized, invaded, and manipulated, but never broken. A young population growing, learning, ready, not itching for war, but prepared for it. So next time you hear someone say the Philippines is weak, remember this: strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it waits, watches, prepares, and when the moment comes, it moves. The Philippines may not be the biggest or the richest or the loudest, but it holds the keys to the Indo-Pacific. And when history turns its next page, don't be surprised if the Philippines is right there in the center of it all, quiet, unshaken, and ready.